I know, put shitload of work in on the start to get this championship, go to the Olympics as the American champion. I guess, is that revalidating? What's it mean to you?
Well, I mean, this means just you got to get through this one before you can worry about anything else. So,
Yeah.
I mean, there's a lot of pressure on this meet. So, right now, static for him. I got a couple other guys that I got to feel sorry for right this second, but that's part of the job. You're gonna have the ups and the downs as far as that goes. But I feel for them. But at the same time, he came here and did exactly what we talked about. I mean, it was, made to order exactly how it was supposed to set up. So from what I can tell, I got to go back and look at it. But the start was pretty good, and he was right there at 60 where he has to be, and then the rest of it, he just does what he does. So.
What are you liking about Noah's start right now? Like, what's improved so much over these past couple of years?
Well, I mean, he's gotten stronger, and that was the big key. And that's what we went into the year trying to accomplish, was to get his gym numbers up and have him be aggressive in there, and he's done a really good job of it. And it's paying off. But for him, this is as fast as he's ever run this time of year. Obviously, tied his PB, but. For where we're at in China and what we're doing, I'm really happy with the result and really happy with where he's at, obviously.
How special? Noah obviously loves like the showmanship and that side of the sport, but he seems like he balances it very well with the work. Is that a special quality in an athlete to be able to, be both of those things?
It's a special quality in him.
Yeah.
That's what he does. He loves it, and that gets him going. And my thing is that when we're at practice, or if I ask him a question or I have something to say, he listens and pays attention and works hard, and that's all you can ask for in my job. As far as the rest of it, if that gets him going, it gets him excited, and he wants to, be a showman, I'm all for it. Whatever gets him ready to train every day and to run. So the rest of it is, I told him before we got here, I said, hey, at the end of the day, you got to be you. And whatever that is, that's what you have to do. And he did. He is who he is, and he showed up when he's supposed to, and that's all I can ask for my job.
Did you see anything technically in the heats coming off that 9.92 that he ran that he maybe needed to improve upon in the semis and the final here?
No, I thought the 9.92 was a pretty easy race. He really didn't go to the guns too hard. He set it up and he cleared it about 60. And it was. I thought all in all, it was a pretty easy race for him. And then in the semis, I didn't think he started as well as he did in the prelim, and he had to do a little bit of work in the middle that was a little more than we were expecting. But at the same time, obviously, Kenny's pretty damn good. He just got second, so you can't ever take that for granted. But he covered him there, and then came back in the final, and he was confident and ready to go, and had a great warm up, and the rest is the rest. So I was just totally pleased. It was a great run, and we'll go back and look at it, and I'm sure I'm going to be able to find something that we need to work on, and so is he, and we'll talk about it and make those adjustments and keep going forward.
Did it look like he had to run down Curly and Bednarik a little bit, in the final? Not a lot.
From my angle, I didn't think so. And when you look at TV, anybody on the outside lane looks like they have to run people down just because of the angle of the camera. Mm-hmm. That's why it looks like they're making that huge surge when they're in 6, 7, 8. At the end of the race, because the camera angle catches up to the actual true position. So, there's a bit anytime you're watching the track meet that you have to keep that in mind. So when you get that side-on view, you're going to find out that he was right there in the middle of it the whole way down the track, and then just kept going.
Where'd you watch the race?
I'll watch it always on the back stretch, so I can see. I don't get bad angles over there. I can see what happens. So.
You think he's got some more in the tank for Paris?
I'm sorry?
I said, do you think Noah's got some more in the tank for Paris?
Oh, yeah. There ain't no doubt. And he's going to have to, but, I'm not even worried about Paris right this very second. We still got a 200 to run. But, he's going to keep doing what he does, and, we're going to continue to train and get him ready to run. But, with the way the program's set up and what we do, you try to peak a little bit here, but the big peak's always at the World or Olympic Games, and this year's Olympic Games. So, we're right on pace, and we'll just keep going.
Was there anything that changed coming off the triple in Budapest last year that you need to make sure that, he was going to continue off that trajectory and be prepared for this year?
We continue, he got better with the start when we were in Budapest. It took the whole year to get it there, and then he hit it when he needed to. And to get the consistency, you need to be able to apply more force into the ground, more power. And like I said before, the weight room was the biggest thing that I revamped a little bit. And we still do what we do in there, but he was just a little bit more aggressive, and we went after a little bit harder in that area. And if you look at him, you can tell. he's a different looking body than he has been in the past. But, to be able to run that race and run rounds, you're going to have to be.
You've coached the fastest man in the world before. So when Noah first had this goal to transition to 100, become the fastest man in the world, what was that like? And what's his last 2 years been like for him to do it and now try to stay on top?
Well, might not like this answer, but he's always been a 100-meter guy. He's a world junior champion, so can't say he wasn't a 100-meter guy. Long story short, COVID was hard on him. He was dinged up most of 21, so we weren't able to do the work he needed to do for the 100 then. Got him in pretty good shape, and then he just got beat at the games. I mean, it's the only second time he's ever been beaten as a pro in the 200, so it just came at a bad time for him, but he showed back up here a couple weeks later and showed what he was really capable of at the time. But with what happened there, then 22 we had to put the emphasis on the 200 so he could get back on top there, and we made a pretty good run at the, wanted to get the American record, and he was able to do that. And then 24's always been, trying to get the double, and we're halfway there. We got to still finish off this 200 next week, but Budapest was just kind of a dress rehearsal of, okay, what are we going to need to do? How's it going to feel? How are you going to feel running all those rounds? And then we readdressed it and figured out what needed to be changed going into this year, and that's what we've done.
Now, coming off a personal best in 9.83 in the 100, what can we expect in the 200?
Hopefully he makes the team. I don't give a shit about the time. He just needs to be in the top 3. But besides that, and then for him, he's going to want to try to win the race. But hell, these guys are in shape and they look really good right now. The whole field does. So, you're going to have some guys ready to go, and he's going to want to win the race, and whatever that takes, that takes. But when you come to these meets, you don't worry about time, you worry about place. Thanks, Dan.
From a
Even
fan's
today, are you thinking just make the team?
In the 2,
No, not in the 1.
it's always just make the team. And then, I wanted him to win, obviously, but he got 3rd last year and did pretty good, so it's just make sure you're on the team. And that team's the hardest team in the world to make. I mean, you saw that today. You have one small bobble, and I mean, you only get Olympics every 4 years, so I feel bad for the guys that didn't make it. I mean, they all train hard and they're all deserving, and but only 3 get on there, and that's why you have to be prepared on this day, and that's what makes it so nerve-wracking.
So from a fan's perspective, what did you think of the race? Where you have Curly, you have Kenny B, Coleman. Like, just thinking of a fan, how'd you look at it?
Well, I thought they ran good. I was impressed with Fred. I thought he did a good job of digging himself out of a little bit of hole that he was in earlier in the year. Kenny, I thought Kenny was going to run fast coming into the meet. I mean, he's been looking good, and and I feel bad for Christian because he's a very, very talented individual, and he deserved to be on there too. But there's only 3 spots, so you just have to. Well, you just have to feel bad for him. I mean, at the end of the day, and at the same time, I had Kendall Williams in the race too, and he did a great job making the final, and I thought he had a shot to be in, outside shot of making the team based off of what he was doing training wise. But he just. Sometimes you put it together in the final, sometimes you don't. But I'm proud of him, and that's the part of coaching really good people is you're going to have some that do really well and some that don't do as well as you hope. So you gotta, you gotta meet everybody's needs when it comes to that. But to answer your actual question, I thought the race was good. I thought Noah cleared with about 20 to go from where I was at it, just my vantage point. So I was looking for Kendall at that point. I didn't even know who was after him. So, and I was on the backstretch, so you really can't tell who's who. I mean, he was in a red bodysuit, so it made it easy.
So he's made this team now in the 100. When he goes to Paris, what will it take for him to be on top of the podium there?
Yeah, he's going to have to beat everybody else in the race. I mean, I don't know what to tell you besides that. I mean, at this point, we'll wait and see who's in shape and who's running well, and, how he's running and training, and, make sure everything's right at the right time. So, tell people all the time, track's a non-contact sport in sprints. You can only take care of your lane, and you can't really worry about what anybody else is doing, or you get in their rhythm instead of yours, and it screws the whole race up. So right now he's just going to worry about him and do what he needs to do. And when it comes that time, I mean, I'm sure it's going to be a hell of a meet. So we'll see.
What do you think about the high school kid?
The evolution of Noah's start especially from the last trials to this one.
The last Olympic trials?
Yeah.
Well, yeah. 21 doesn't really count. I mean, we weren't able to do the type of work he needed to do that year, especially for the 100. We only ran the 100 there to try to get him stimulated and turned on for the 2. the fact that he made the final was, I let him run, but it wasn't part of the plan at the time. But he wanted to run, so he ran. And as far as the rest goes, I mean, it starts. Everybody has a strong part in a weak part of their race, and what you do is you try to keep going with the strong part and gradually get better at the weaker points. And he's been doing a really good job of that at this point. And he's got to keep. We still got to keep working in that way.
Noah is such a showman. Paradoxically, does that allow him to concentrate better in a race because it doesn't seem to be a distraction?
Yeah, Noah's Noah, and like I said a minute ago, he's he needs to be himself, and that's who he is, and I'm all for it as long as when he gets back here and he's ready to warm up and he's listening and paying attention, which he always does. Then hey, whatever gets you ready to run, I'm all for it.
Congrats, Coach. Good
Thanks
luck the
a
rest
lot,
of the
guys.
meet.
I appreciate it.